Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom,
Boom,
boom.
boom, 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 boom. Test 1, 2. Test 1, check.
Yeah, hello everyone. Right?
Yeah, hello. We're live
Yeah, that's right.
on the weekly Assassin's Creed podcast where we talk about Assassin's Creed.
Yes, exactly. Now we talk about Splinter Cell.
Splinter
No,
Cell
we don't.
remake. Yeah.
No, we don't. Thanks everyone for joining as always. Every Wednesday we're live at the same time on the same spot. So thank you for joining. Did you know, Frankie Boy, Fragnard, that there are 10 Assassin's Creed games coming in 5 years and that 4 of them might already launch next year? What do you say
Yeah.
about that?
It's crazy. Like all the Assassin's Creed games, we got to put them together. We got so many coming, like for different platforms, different kind of genres as well. And we get so many leaks to talk about, but also some announced stuff. So that's a great topic for today's episode. We got
Yeah, exactly.
so many games. I don't want to spoil it right now. We are gonna go through them by each, I think.
For sure,
Yeah.
for sure. Thanks,
So-
Smuckjim, not here for being here as well, and everyone else. Muckerman, good to see you as always as well. So one thing I wanted to quickly address from last week because the comments were kind of crazy. It got blown out of proportion. I watched it back as well, and it was regarding the bad apple remark, and I did not mean any of you watching that are like following the channel for a while, that have been a fan of the series and want the best for it and don't like some of the aspects of Shadows. Like, that is completely fine. I am talking about people outside the community that for some reason find it enjoyable to go to places like this or other videos from other creators that are excited about this game or that are just curious, that want to play it, and then get angry at them for liking this. That is what I was talking about regarding the bad apples. Not if you are watching right now and are like, I don't like some of the choices they made, still cautiously optimistic, or I don't know, I might not play it for the first time in Assassin's Creed. That is all fine. You do you. But I also think it is important to say, because you, of course, last week said that, the chat has been great. And that is the nice part about what we have here, is that we are all people that have been... there are people that just play it as a Assassin's Creed game at launch. They like it, move on, which is totally fine. But there are also people like us who play this game and then always return to it throughout the year, check out the new updates, the free content, and all that sort of stuff. And that is kind of what we, like most of you are, that are watching right here, are. And that is so cool that we can like discuss this game without all the nonsense surrounding it and are actually, excited and still critical. Hey, maybe this system, like, I'm still kind of worried about the whole, hey, it's from the Odyssey team, but are they maybe taking the wrong learnings from Valhalla? Like, I'm still kind of like, are we going in the right direction in terms of depth? But it's hard to say right now, looking at what we got in terms of information. But I wanted to set that straight. I'm not talking about if you are a fan of the series and you said something negative about the game. You do you. Of course, it's no fun in a group or wherever you are to have this person who is always being like, oh, this sucks, oh, this sucks, oh, this sucks. So don't be that person. If you don't like it, that's totally fine. Share it here. But after that, like, move on with your life. We are here because we like the series and because we want it to succeed. And by giving feedback, we do that. And by sharing and like talking about why we love it, we do that as well. And I really just want to like, let's not forget that. I mean, I also said it in the comments, like, I still look back at Valhalla and I know there are many issues with that game, but I still would not change anything about my time with that game. I'm still looking back on it and thinking like, that got me some really cool experiences that I don't want to forget. That I really think this game is gonna give me that as well. So I look forward to that, while of course still being open-minded and critical of things we don't like. but also celebrating the things that we do like. So I wanted to say that because last week the comments were kind of like, what? Am I not allowed to say what I want? You do you, totally do that. But it's not fun to constantly be like, oh, this sucks, oh, this sucks, oh, this sucks. So also, if you're watching in the chat and people are also like, dude, we get it, right? You don't like it. You just keep it for yourself. Be happy that other people enjoy something that maybe you don't like. And it would suck if we were like, oh, you enjoy that? That sucks. Let people enjoy their life. That's what I wanted to say. Do you have anything to add about that?
Wow, what a statement. I mean, I can totally sign it. That's just awesome that you said that. And I think you really found the right words to say everybody should love what he or she wants to love. And if you don't like anything, that's, of course, you can say it. But I mean, that doesn't mean you have to bash anyone. You can just say, I don't like this approach. Please change it, Ubisoft. But it's like different to go everywhere and bash anything you can find about that topic and just do it for the sake of hating things. And I think like toxicity is a big problem in gaming in some areas, not in all of those, of course. And as you stated, we are here to celebrate the series. We're gonna be talking about details, the small little details. If you came to this place just to hate about anything about the series, that's the wrong space. Like, we for example are diehard fans or interested in the series at least, and yeah, I think that's the place where you are. Feel free to be here. Feel welcome to learn about Assassin's Creed, and please interact with us in the chat and tell us about your opinions. And opinions are always welcome, but no bashing, please. Like
exactly.
Senseless toxicity bashing, I mean.
Yeah, Yappy is saying the discussion becomes toxic very fast. That's a real shame. Yeah, that is kind of what the internet has turned into in these last, especially this year. It feels like, and yeah, like there are there are a lot of places if you have that toxic mindset, go there. That was kind of my statement with the bad apples. Go away, and. Yeah, I think we have such a nice place here where, again, we can be critical of any game. Because that's so awesome about the series as well. Everyone has their favorite game. It's not it's all like, sure, there are some more popular than others. But overall, there are so many different people that like different things about the series. And that is, I think, what is also very cool about it. And yeah. As long as you keep an open mind and don't go crazy on people that like something you don't, I think it's all good. But that also brings us to the topic of this week's episode, and that is 10 games, 5 years, and they want to make games. That still sounds crazy, right? If you say that out loud. But they, like you said as well, they wanted to. Instead, it sounds like a lot, but they want to kind of go where everyone's taste is. So they're like, it's okay if you only play 3 of the 10 games. We don't expect you to play all of them, but we want to have something for everyone. So I think it's, what would you say? Is it fun to go in a probably chronological order as to the 10 games, and then kind of discuss them one by one and see what we want from them, and then kind of talk about it as a broad sense. Do we think this will work? And of course, we also have to say, as a caveat, it's already not going as planned because Shadows was supposed to launch in a month from now. That's crazy to say out loud. But I looked at the countdown, and it's now 121 days, and that's a ton. So
countdown's still feeling very long right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's I'm also kind of in a I'm looking forward to Dragon Age, but in terms of gaming, I'm kind of just waiting. I know I will be playing this game a lot, and also of course making a ton of content about it. So I'm kind of okay, so what should I do? Should I go on a do one one last vacation. Sounds crazy, but should I just go and just chill out, because I know it will be crazy starting in February. So I'm looking into that. Maybe that's a good way to kind of spend this. It's weird, like as a creator, to go away during November and December when it's usually the most crowded time. So I kind of have to wrap my head around that. But yeah, that might be something I'm gonna do.
Totally recommendable. Yeah.
Yeah, as I also don't expect them to say a lot. I think they might just go, start their marketing again in January, and then kind of go from there. And hopefully some of the nonsense has washed over, and they can show a lot of cool new stuff that we just haven't seen yet. So let's start. Like, what can we say about Shadows? I mean, we've talked about it a lot already. That's gonna be the first of the 10 games, of course, February 14th. It's gonna. Tom Henderson also said that the Assassin's Creed Infinity Hub, so the Animus Hub that they want to launch, where all these 10 games are gonna live, so you can more easily check them out instead of having to go to the PlayStation Store or anywhere else. So yeah, that is like. It's gonna start now, this kickoff of these 10 games in February instead of at the end of this year. But what can we say? Or should we immediately move on to what seems like the second game that will launch after Shadows?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Assassin's Creed Shadows for hours in the last weekly podcast. We teared everything apart and talked about any detail we could find. So I think it's smart to move on. And right now, I think everybody in the chat knows about AC Shadows. I'm excited for it. Still can't wait to get my hands on it and try to explore Japanese Assassin's Creed culture.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's already, it's like some people are now kind of worried. Like, is the game not gonna be great because of all the sort of a critique that is surrounded it, and some of it is totally deserved with how Ubisoft has handled some of the culture stuff, as you said. So I still think it's gonna be really cool to explore this world. Like, we've only seen these shots, but I think actually picking up the controller and playing it and exploring these settings has always been great. So even if they somehow don't deliver on other parts, and I don't know why you would think that, because I saw someone say that in the chat as well. How can you have an opinion on something you have not played yet? And of course you can have your initial reaction to it, but all of this stuff that we've been saying, like, we don't know how the story will go. We've seen some footage of Yasuke fighting, but like, according to the developers, there's way more depth to it compared to other fighting systems. Maybe he is way more fun than we think right now, and that makes it really fun to just go into these camps with your shoulder bash instead of what now seems to be a more in-depth and interesting gameplay style that Naue has. So we will have to wait and see, of course, but I'm really looking forward to it. That second dev diary that got leaked got me a bit more excited. Of course, we saw the settlement.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we really saw some new things that are actually a leap forward. Right now, looking at Shadows, I think, if you asked me, okay, what is an Assassin's Creed in Shadows or in Japan going to look like, this is kind of what I would have come up with. Like, it's gonna look beautiful because it's on the new hardware and doesn't have to run on PS4 or Xbox One. Dual protagonists, you could not really predict that, but we've seen that before, of course. They're now taking it a bit further. Apart from that, we haven't really seen anything else that's gonna set this game apart from the game in the gameplay department. We're gonna have to wait and see, but we will be following it here, although high chance, and I saw that here as well. Do you think there will be another game announcement before Shadows comes out based on the timing now? No, I think they're really going to focus on Shadows, but it will likely be some time. I think Ubisoft will now put some extra effort into Outlaws and try and sell that to more people, because, as we heard, that game has not sold very well for the budget and how big that is. But after that, they will be full focus on Shadows, I'm sure, and probably start talking about the other Assassin's Creed games that will be in 2025 a little later. Although one of them we already know about, and that's probably the first one that will launch, at least according to Tom Henderson and Insider Gaming, who has been right many times before, and that is Assassin's Creed Jade. Did you play it as well during Gamescom?
Yeah.
Cool.
I played it as well, and we briefly talked about it in the last episode, I think. It was a nice experience, and I also had the honor to interview one of the devs, and he said, like, yeah, it's totally Assassin's Creed Odyssey based, and you can clearly see it in the footage, in the gameplay. You really get the feeling of AC Odyssey in it, with Jordan in an old AC Jade video, right? Was it the Sunday video?
No. I tried some new things. So I was like, let's do this.
Yeah, what a surprise. But a pleasant one, of course. So where was I? Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And
you talked to the developer. It was more like Odyssey, they said.
Exactly. They said it's the Odyssey base. We have this mystical boss right there, the loot system, which really motivates me to play games. I really love, like, grinding for loot, building builds like in Odyssey, with the epic items being the best ones in the whole game.
Don't think that will be like here.
It might not be the case, yeah.
No. It's very interesting. I want to quickly shout out Samaya, as always, for your support. The shadow of the delay is still looming over me. I mean, yeah, talking of course about shadows real quick again. Yeah, for sure. But I like always with the delays, at one point we will forget about it and it will be for the best. So it's kind of like said right now. Again, I would have loved to live in a different timeline where they were able to launch it this year in a good quality. Then we would have played it probably already. It would have way more interesting things to say about the game. But it is what it is. And I want to thank the devious yodeler as well for becoming a JorRaptor member there. So thank you for the support. That's very kind. Can we show the Death Diary Part 2?
Maybe
Maybe one day. Maybe we can try at one point. But we're gonna focus on the 10 games right now. But we might. I asked Ubisoft about it and they were like, yeah, you can talk about it. So yeah, that's why I'm doing it. That's why I did it in yesterday's video, and you discussed it a bit as well, right? Like I just showed, hey, it's exactly on YouTube right now. You can just click it and watch it. So why can I not show it? Either way, yeah, we were looking at Jade this whole time, and I really agree that this looks like I first thought, okay, but they're going in this like Odyssey 2 direction. How is that gonna work with Shadows? Because I expected Shadows to be more like the Odyssey 2 as well, in terms of like the damage numbers and the amount of loot and all that stuff. But that turned out to be not really the case. So yeah, that game is gonna be more like Valhalla. So it's cool that we have the random loot again in this game. That I think
that's great, yeah. I
think like what the random loot did, and it's kind of wild that Ubisoft steps away from it, and it seems that they are doing that for Shadows as well, is every time, like, there are good parts about it and bad parts, and I know not everyone likes to have that in their Assassin's Creed game, but I think it worked really well for Origins and for Odyssey, because I think overall Ubisoft is not really good at rewarding you for going into the open world and into this cave and spending 10 minutes to get to a chest and get a reward. That's where Outlaws is for me really lacking, because all I'm finding is crafting upgrades and one like
or a blaster
belt.
upgrade you don't want to play.
yeah. So I have my best. I like this blaster module, so I'm only gonna use that, and then you get a resource for something. Like it's not working, and I don't think they did it for that reason, but maybe they did. So that's why it's kind of wild that they're stepping away from that. But with a random loot system like that, it kind of helped them, meaning that they can just put in a camp 10 chests, and the random loot could make sure that you always had a good reason and you always felt rewarded for going into that camp because you would level up. Your gear that you had is 1 or 2 levels below you. So every time you go into a camp or a cave or do an activity, whatever, you get a new item that is on your level because the loot would scale to your level. So you never felt like you were wasting time. And then, you would find, and this system in Jade is like, works like that as well. You would find a completely new, like headpiece or whatever that you did not have yet. And that was not the case at launch. But later on, that would mean that would then be added to your transmog system. So you could like immediately show it as like a cosmetic item as well. And that was here in Jade. They're doing that, I think, from day one. So here I'm actually talking about the fact that transmog is already in the game.
They learned some things from the past, of course.
Yeah, but that's good.
That way. Yeah. It's great. And they talked about it like I think in Death Diary. Was it Death Diary 2 or 1, where they said like they want to do the knowledge transfer better in the future now, and it seems like it has worked with working with Tencent in this case.
I mean, they are learning more right now than the Ubisoft developers, which is kind of crazy.
This really looked like an Odyssey armor right there.
It is the Hades armor, and that was kind of what I was talking about. This is the Pilgrim outfit. Like they're not afraid to just. They're like, we're in a completely different setting, but screw this. We're reusing outfits. Like,
Mediterranean Greece.
Yeah, why not?
We love that in China.
Yeah. So
I mean, if it fits, I fits.
Yeah, and it is actually interesting how Jade and Shadows are kind of similar, and I wonder if one, like, who came up with it, because Jade has to be the one who started it because they were in development way before Shadows. But one thing we're seeing here is, I think, already a sort of tease as to what it might look like in Shadows, because weapons here are basically characters in a way. Like, of course, if you played one of the Genshin Impact or something, each character has different abilities, and here every weapon has different abilities. And we also know that in Shadows, a weapon, if you use it often or if you master it, however you're gonna do that, we don't really know the details, you will unlock a specific ability with that weapon. But like, it makes the legendary items in Jade so much more interesting, because they have abilities that another legendary spear will have different abilities than this one. So even if the stats are the same, it will still be like a completely different weapon. And I'm kind of curious to see, what that will kind of look like. So I think it's looking interesting, even if you don't like multiplayer or like mobile games.
I mean, that's obviously the biggest downside of it, that it's only mobile. Yeah. I mean, the biggest upside is you don't need to have a console to play it. You simply need a mobile phone, and anybody has it. But it's kind of the Blizzard argument. Don't you guys have phones?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a silly argument. I mean, I can totally see myself playing it when I'm on my way somewhere, and always enjoying the little add-ins of the real JorRaptor.
Yeah.
In his old videos.
No, but the rumor is that this game might launch, or at least that it was planned for May, June, July of next year. I mean, it has been very quiet, which is crazy.
I mean, it would fit the schedule if we look at the other stuff that might be coming at the end of the next year to Assassin's Creed, and the early stuff next year. So that would be like the most crowded Assassin's Creed release year ever, right?
Yeah, exactly. But that is if everything happens. If everything drops, of course.
If everything happens, of course, yeah.
Yeah. So, because like Shadows got pushed, so that might move Jade out a bit further as well, because they might not want to launch like 2 of these big RPGs close to each other. On the other hand, it's a completely different platform, and it's mostly for a Chinese audience. So we will be keeping an eye on this. But I really think, and did you see we're going a bit of a sidetrack, but also not really. Did you see the Destiny Rising reveal?
I don't think so.
It's the Destiny mobile game basically.
Oh no, I
Um,
didn't see it.
so they're doing a Destiny mobile game, but NetEase is doing it, so not Tencent, which of course, yeah, they're
Mm.
the biggest competitors of each other. And it really kind of sometimes reminds me of that. Like we see a lot of these big franchises go to mobile, but made by these Chinese developers, and they always are like a few steps ahead of the Western developers in different ways. Because they're like, this game will have co-op. We talked about it last week as well when talking about the rumor for the for the multiplayer mode that is coming to Shadows later on. But Jade already has it already, and I said in the video, in this video, it would be weird to play this mobile game and then go to Shadows and be like, oh, it's kind of a step back because I wanted to play this with a friend and I can't. So my point is that what we also see with the Destiny thing, there are a lot of cool things that people are like, oh, I want this in Destiny 2, in the actual Destiny game. And I do think that if this is out and getting supported, for one, these Chinese developers are way better at post-launch support. They have like updates huge updates every month or whatever, or like they have the post-launch kind of figured out for many of their games. And if Shadows is like a Valhalla again, and I hope it's not the case, where we have to wait multiple months for one festival that we finish in 3 hours, this game is gonna make look Shadows bad. So I think that it's gonna be interesting to see how they live alongside each other and what the content updates will be, and if some ideas that we see in Jade will be in Shadows as well. I mean, we're already seeing it with the weapons, right? That are way more, that have their abilities linked to them, which is
also very detailed descriptions and detailed stats. Like,
yeah,
it seems to have a really deep RPG system, if it's not changed yet. But I mean, we haven't heard about it for so long. But chances are high they are releasing it that way, I guess, because we've already seen it and it's already been tested.
Yeah.
And of course, you got a great point when pointing out, we got the multiplayer there and so many features people have been asking. I mean, it's great for us as fans of the franchise if they learn from other companies making Assassin's Creed games.
For sure.
And making some things better. They can, of course, take that away for the own games and put it into the next titles. Hopefully, I mean. And yeah, of course, Asian market is very popular with mobile gaming. So it just makes sense to have the experts doing the job and putting in the good work. Yeah.
And although what we saw with Wukong this year is that, and I think that caught a lot of the companies by surprise, is that console and PC games are actually doing really well in China now as well. Like that game, of course, the fastest selling game maybe ever. I'm not sure, maybe GTA is the only one that was bigger, but it was because it was very big in China on Steam and even on PlayStation. So I do think at one point, they're gonna bring this to console as well. It would be wild of them to kind of not do it, I think. But that is gonna compete with Shadows in an interesting way. So maybe they do it after Shadow support has ended and we're waiting for the next RPG or something. That's kind of my prediction. But it would be kind of wild of them, because I do think an Assassin's Creed in China on PC and console could do the same as a Wukong in a way, because people loved it because it was the Chinese mythology in Unreal Engine 5 that looked incredible. And they can do that with Assassin's Creed as well if they beef up the graphics. I mean, this game is made on Unreal Engine 5 or 4. I'm not sure if they can, it's probably easier said than done to move that to Unreal Engine 5 for console and PC, but I think they're leaving money on the table by not doing that.
Yeah. They're, of course, downscaling it for smartphone performance, but if you keep the data. And I was actually asking my interview partner about bringing it to controller support for smartphones. So I don't know, I could mirror my my game to the screen and then use my controller to play it. But he wasn't commenting on controller support. But I think, but he said he thinks it's interesting. So that might be a hint.
It's wild
towards...
that they don't have it, right? Because a game like this, you wanna like it seems to work quite well. I mean, I played it. You as well, right? So
yeah,
it works. But this is a game that you are playing for many hours, and I do think at one point your hands are going to be like, please
exactly.
Stop. My hands
there
hurt.
are so many controllers also for smartphones, and I think it's like the most natural thing for us to play it with a controller.
Yeah.
And the second thing I asked was also, will you bring it to consoles, to PC? And he said, yeah, right now it's only planned for mobile, but he didn't say no. So
okay.
chances are there, but yeah, it's nothing confirmed. Of course.
We have before we move on to the other games, Devious Yodeler. Any worries about potential increase in microtransactions if Ubisoft will in microtransactions Ubi will do if when Jade starts bringing in huge money? I mean, maybe, but let's not forget that we just had the Shadows delay where they removed the season pass, where they are giving the first expansion away for free, where we only have one standard edition instead of the ultimate edition and gold edition. Like, they are not in the position right now to increase any microtransactions. Maybe in 2 years, they must look at Jade and be like, okay, what can we learn from that? But I don't think they will forget that Shadows is a game you pay for. And yeah, the expansions cost money as well. Like, Jade's business model is completely different because the game is free and they have to make money somehow. And one way to do it is through let's use in-game currency to hopefully get a special weapon. Like the gacha model is what they're going after. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that will impact the game. So we will see. But I'm sure they're gonna take learnings, but I hope they take the right learnings and like, oh, people like this in the co-op of Jade, let's put that in the co-op mode of Shadows, instead of, oh, they make a ton of money, let's nickel and dime people in Shadows as well.
Yeah. Let's see. I mean, I'm excited for Jade. I'm excited for Shadows. They both kind of play in the same space, but on different platforms. So moving on to a different competitor, which is a totally different approach, a brand new one to gaming in general, bringing old stuff back again.
Yeah, that's
and let the nostalgia kick, right?
I saw someone say, I think Tom Henderson was it as well, where he was like, the new trend from live service games is like remakes now, as like a
yeah. Sony is the world champion in it right now.
Yeah, but they kind of throw the remake word around kind of weirdly. And Nintendo has been doing this for an insane long time because they never had backwards compatibility. Like the Switch, like half of the Nintendo games are games that you could already play on older platforms. But I mean, I'm not against it, the whole remake thing, because the fact is that these games, the new ones, just take way longer to make right now. And sometimes, like, there are multiple reasons. For one, there are people that maybe... I mean, Black Flag is now 2013. So the rumor is that in November 2025, they will launch the Black Flag remake. And that would be 12 years. And we've seen what the Shadow tech brings to the table in terms of weather effects, like wind, like they can do a ton of like incredible graphical stuff and put that into the world of Black Flag. So I think that will already make it really, really impressive. So I'm like, yeah, sure, I would love.
Also, they did
to see
Skull
that.
and Bones and learned of that.
Yeah. I mean, that's of course kind of the rumor as well, that one of the reasons they are kind of doing this, of course, it's one of the most beloved Assassin's Creed games, so it makes sense that they're remaking it. But also, they can probably use some of the assets and things they made with Skull and Bones and give a new purpose. That like, more people will play Black Flag day one than Skull and Bones. Maybe I'm saying crazy stuff right now, but I would not be surprised if that's the case. So if
Totally.
more
I mean,
people...
you got to be excited for this. I totally loved Black Flag, and with all the new tech you just mentioned, the raindrops dripping down from the ship, the storm looking super awesome, seeing a storm behind an island, but driving through sunlight and having the time of my life while grinding in the seas of the Caribbean, it just sounds awesome. And till today, I still like to play Black Flag, the normal one. I, by the way, like the video you just showed. It's reshaded, I think, right?
Yeah, there. It's like, yeah. I was like looking for something that maybe, yeah. I mean, it will probably
Looks a
look
little bit
better, but
It
the remake,
somehow
I
looks
hope.
like iPhone cinema mode with
Yeah,
the
yeah, but
unsharpness in the background. But
it looks
it-
better than if you would look at actual Black Flag gameplay. So that's why I wanted to show this.
yeah, totally. And this gives us just a small hint on how awesome it could look if you
Yeah, exactly.
just see like AC shadows and that looking similar. It's awesome, and I think it's a fair jump right now that it's worth to look back at AC Black Flag and see what it did right.
What
I
other
mean-
things would you like from the remake? Apart from, like, we know, according to Tom Henderson from Insider Gaming, that it like he saw some gameplay of it. Again, the big news is that it's like closer than we think. We still have to, of course, maybe because of the Shadows delay, they push this as well. I don't think that's the case. I think they still want to launch this in November. But apart from the graphical things and maybe seasons or whatever, like, again, everything they are making for Shadows can be used in other Assassin's Creed projects as well, in terms of fidelity and engine upgrades. But also in terms of gameplay, what do you hope the remake does?
I mean, the ship has been awesome, but if you add like a settlement, a separate one, so you have like your own hidden harbor that you can really build, that would give me some goosebumps. I would also love to see them implement some RPG systems, because I think they have not been introduced back then to the series.
It was mostly Unity that kind of started the whole light build mechanics.
I mean, that's a controversial one.
Yeah.
And I know that because many of you guys out there are likely going to say, just leave it as it was.
Yeah.
Like the graphics a ton better. Better lighting, better physics, better AI of the NPCs. And make me the stealth
more
pirate
people on
I
the
want to be.
street, etc. That would be
Yeah.
cool. Like, make it more immersive. But like, let's make that a poll, right? And I think I know the answer already. But here, Makkerman is saying the crafting system in Black Flag was bad. I hope they improve that. Like, there are totally some things that they could, just add more depth to it, which would be nice. But let's ask this thing: do you want, like, should they change the combat to be more like the newer games, or should they just leave it as the counter system?
I mean, just gameplay wise, you gotta fresh it up, I think, a little bit to make it more appealing to recent players and not only to the nostalgia ones. Maybe like change
should
some
they
things.
change the Black
maybe-
Flag combat
Yeah.
to be more like the RPG games? I think, is that a great way to word it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let's.
That sounds perfect. Can't wait to
Can
participate in the
Brock
poll.
put that in the chat? In the
Should they
Twitch chat?
change the Black Flag combat to be more like the RPG game? I did my vote. Curious how you will vote.
Yeah, I'm overall more a fan of the RPG combat. I think that is one of the biggest things that like the biggest things that Origins brought to the table that I liked. Because also going back to something like Syndicate, which I did to kind of like feel the dual protagonist again. And what, like, the whole progression in that game just feels kind of weird, where sometimes you're fighting these brutes, like, you kind of have to... It's kind of a rock, paper, scissors game where, okay, this attack works against this enemy, or when the enemy does this, I have to use this button combination. I personally like the more freeform, I hit my weapon, I, for one, hit multiple enemies instead of only the one that I'm targeting. And the more... I don't know, it just gave me more freedom than the sort of, okay, let's wait for the enemy to attack and then counter them or something. Yeah, I do think the sort of... It was really easy to look cool in the older games in terms of combat, but the sort of things you did as the player are not as exciting, I think, as with the RPG combat. So I would love for them to still... Let's look at like a Black Flag combat compilation.
Yeah,
like
I mean, the counter kill thing was
Yeah.
a thing in the series from, I think, AC1 until AC Syndicate or so. But it was very easy. And I mean, you could really
love
like
these.
abuse it and use it all the time. And like have the easiest time of your life in those fights. But yeah,
I mean, they can still have them while improving the combat, I think.
of course. But if it's like the by far best mechanic, you're gonna use it all the time,
Yeah.
most likely. And yeah, I would love for a fresh up. The poll is right now, also participate in the poll if you didn't already. Right now it's 60% yes, 44% no, so 56% yes, saying they should change the combat system, which is like really one-on-one. Like
I did not expect that, but I do think that the people watching are more the RPG fans, like I at least. Like I never. Do you like the RPG fans also more than the older games, or are you kind of like 50-50, or do you have a preference?
I have a preference, and it's of course the RPG games.
Okay.
I came to the series with Origins. Like
Yeah.
I used to play some AC games for a short period of time back then, but Origins really brought me in because I was searching for something that was similar to The Witcher 3, and like I had a friend saying, Origins is coming. I don't like this anymore, but you will likely like it. I liked it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they took
So
a
I
lot
got
of
the
learnings from Witcher, which was very clear, but I love the way he uses the environment, of course, also for these takedowns. But, I mean, they can still have them in the game while upping while changing the combat a bit. Maybe they should not go... I don't know, it will be interesting. It will be very interesting to see, because even Mirage, a game where they were like, yeah, we're going back to the roots, had the... like Valhalla combat. Obviously, that was a DLC turned into a full game, so that probably had to do with it. But yeah, I think it worked really well for that game. Although I know not everyone liked the combat in Mirage, but it will be fascinating. It will be very fascinating to see if like that's the whole thing with a remake. Like Ubisoft, still to this day, they have announced the Splinter Cell remake, the Prince of Persia remake. And yeah, we know there are multiple Assassin's Creed remakes coming, with Black Flag being the first one. We don't know what a Ubisoft remake is in terms of skill, right? We already saw Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered, which added actually some cool new quality of life things, like free
the
aim.
double hidden blade, and yeah.
So that was really, really cool. And that was actually part of the season pass for Odyssey. You remember that?
Yep.
But yeah, but so that's gonna be interesting to see what a remake like this will look like. And I never thought it, but it seems like Black Flag will be the first remake we get, because Splinter Cell and the Prince of Persia: Sands of Time one are 2026 from the sounds of it. So okay,
Yeah. Nice one. I'm looking forward to it. So we got 3 Assassin's Creeds in the next year. AC Shadows, AC Jade likely in summer, and Black Flag remake.
And
4.
Yeah.
Oh my
are you
god,
ready?
this is too much for 1 year.
But I don't think it's gonna happen.
I can't play Fall
I don't
Guys
think
next year.
you have to, because I won't. Okay, let's go to I'm gonna look at the yeah, but we're talking about Invictus. We're talking about Assassin's Creed Invictus. Let me quickly bring up the rumor. Let me see. Jonathan. of course, when they announced Invictus, or basically talked about it, not even during the Assassin's Creed showcase, but some press went to Ubisoft, and they basically announced that there as well. It's like, hey, we're bringing back Assassin's Creed multiplayer. It's gonna be great, and we're trying some new things. Well, strap in, because we got the rumors from the one and only Jonathan, French YouTuber who has been right many times before. But of course, these things, the game is still early. These things can change. Although we have heard for a long time that they wanna that they wanna launch this between Shadows and Hexe. So that would be 2025, but 2026. I mean, Ubisoft multiplayer games, and especially their free-to-play games, because I would think this free-to-play, they delay all the time. Like, the X-Divine was supposed to launch, I think, in 2022 or 2021, and it launched this year. So, we will have to wait and see if they actually make 2026, but let's go over this leaked information real quick. Let's quickly go over some very kind support here that we got before I forget. So Maya, once again, with the very kind support. So for ACJ, this set in China, we're going to be fighting Mythical Sun Wukong. So ACJ, Black Myth Wukong convert. Would be insane if they do some sort of crossover with Black Myth Wukong. And yeah, it could totally be that one of the mythical creatures is Sun Wukong that we get to fight. Although, I don't know how we can beat Sun Wukong, because he's kind of OP. Let's see, what else do we have? 53 Knights saying, will they keep the whaling missions? What do you think in Black Flag?
I think, yeah. I think they...
Yeah, sorry.
They will likely leave it as it was. I mean, it wasn't the most fun. It wasn't the most useful. But yeah, it's just a part of the game. And people likely expect it from it. I don't know. Was there like some shitstorm around it or something? Didn't play it back then, so I didn't know it. But I think they're gonna keep it, because it just makes sense to keep the features you had back then. Because cutting it will really need you to argument, why did you cut it? Does it make sense gameplay-wise? I don't know. Just will...
I also think that I don't think they're gonna remove stuff. I think they're gonna add on to things that they already had. So yeah, I think they will keep that as well. And then Samaya, once again, let's see. I don't want old AC remakes to have RPG combat forced in if it wasn't built for it. If they remake the Ezio trilogy and force in RPG mechanics, I would be pretty mad. Just upgrade the graphics. And I think many people would be like that. But I don't think we are really saying make it an RPG, but maybe bring it more to the modern standards. Because going back to these older games, the combat really, for me, was always one of the things I did not like, because it got pretty one-dimensional at one point. And even stronger enemies, you would do the same tricks over and over. And yeah, it wasn't as fun, I think, as the newer combat that has way more depth. And also boss battles are way more fun with the newer combat. And that's what they always were kind of struggling with in these older Assassin's Creed games, to make fun boss fights. While in Origins, yeah, we had many of them. And of course, the games after that as well. So I really think... But yeah, maybe changing it is too much. I don't know. But I do think at least updating it a bit, or making it a bit more exciting, or making a updated counter-based system, or adding the free form that you can like really hit multiple enemies with your blade instead of just the one you're targeting. Like, they can do some things to improve it without making it completely different. So I hope they do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
We're
moving
back
on to Fall Guys now.
Okay, but to be fair, they like... Okay, we're gonna read the information and then talk about it, but it's not like Fall Guys per se. It doesn't look like Fall Guys in a way, but it's kind of like how the game progresses. So let's go over it. It will be kind of Fall Guys, 16 players. Tom Henderson heard 18 though, so maybe that has changed from this information. Who compete in several rounds with different games. Among the games, we find a team deathmatch, another in every man for himself, and a speed game where you have to go to luminous points scattered on the map. If you qualify for the next round, you will be able to choose types of powers to create a build that will be used in the final game. 2 confirmed characters are Ezio and Caesar Borgeri.
Borgia.
Yeah. And the gameplay will be very arcade, with hits without real impact and even a bubble shield like Smash Bros. The camera will be quite far from the character, making them look small, so that's kind of like Fall Guys. And the maps will be portions of old games: Baghdad from Mirage, Japan from Shadows, a map in Paradise, in a Paradise Island, probably Black Flag, and Pompeii with rising lava. That's crazy. Okay, hold on to your thoughts. We had one Kinoman Sky also did a super chat. Did I miss that? Let me scroll up. I'm sorry about that. About the AC4 Black Flag one. Oh yeah. Do you think the AC4 Black Flag remake will be censored? It's a bit kinky. I think. I don't think Ubisoft wants to do that. I think that would cause a lot of negative feedback. Don't you think?
Yeah, totally. Same as for the whale thing. You're likely gonna keep it as it was, as long as it doesn't break any laws or so.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think that will happen. So yeah, now this.
Now, the
what is your initial? What are your initial thoughts on this?
I was expecting something else from an Assassin's Creed multiplayer, though. That's my first thought. It's kind of like this battle royale stuff with multiple rounds. Yeah, it can be fun, of course, but it doesn't get me on the boat right now. And so, especially with the camera making them look small, more like a miniature thing, it should like maybe more look like a game for children. I don't know. So, I mean, right now we're just looking at written text from a leak. But if you put that in context with the Fall Guys, yeah, I don't know. The Avors bundle, was it really in the game?
Yeah. I didn't know this either. Yeah.
From that perspective, it's like they likely teamed up or so.
Maybe they were like, when they did the team up, we have to do this as well. This makes so much sense.
I was expecting something else, like more like, I don't know, multiplayer action RPG-ish, or more like the Assassin's Creed Brotherhood multiplayer, which likely could be one of the modes in the game, right?
Sure, but it has like a bubble shield. It sounds more like a brawler type where you actually fight a bit more than where it's like a one-hit kill. I don't know. I totally agree, especially when they said, hey, the For Honor team is working on it. And yeah, then I was like, oh, they're gonna use their expertise in terms of combat and the third person camera and all that sort of stuff, and maybe give the multiplayer the new combat that we had that started with Origins, and then we kind of have to fight each other in an arena or something. That would have been, I think, cooler. Although of course I don't like that, doesn't really fit Assassin's Creed with the whole stealth elements either. But yeah, that could be one of the modes maybe, I don't know. But this, and we're now of course for fun looking at Assassin's Creed Fall Guys gameplay, where someone is with an Assassin's Creed outfit. I think it's the Ezio outfit, right? Running around, or Altair outfit.
Yeah. He said, this is what I was sacrificed for.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it really doesn't get me on board when reading that leak. But, I mean, let's still leave the chance for Ubisoft to propose it to us as players, show us the real game, and explain how it's meant.
Yeah, why is this an Assassin's Creed game? Because I think it could be really cool to have a multiplayer game and then maps from the different series and that you play the different characters. But if they look like Fall Guys characters, I'm like, why would we care?
New target audience.
Yeah, maybe, but then
Minors, yeah.
yeah, but then maybe why make it an Assassin's Creed game? But yeah, maybe that's Ubisoft being like, yeah, we tried it with new IP, with Roller Champions and and Hyperscape and all those type of games, but nobody cared. So maybe if we smack the Assassin's Creed license onto it, more people will try it. I mean, we have to wait and see. If the game is fun, maybe it will find an audience, but so far I'm not convinced because Ubisoft never made a successful free-to-play game, which is crazy to say. They bought Brawlhalla, of course, but
doesn't get me on board yet. So still a person to successfully get on board for them and to make some nice promotion.
Yeah, but I hope because we have 10 games in 5 years, I hope one of them is an actual multiplayer game that I want to play. Although Shadows getting the co-op mode is more exciting to me. Like that's kind of what I want, and I don't mind them putting that in Shadows instead of the instead of them making a standalone game around it. But then let's speed it up a bit because we still got 6 other games to go over. And
we can't make it in time.
I mean, we will go faster. We don't know a lot about the other games, but this, of course,
the German one.
Yeah. This, of course, the one that will be out at the end of 2026. Again, we know that the Shadows delay pushed some of these games back as well. It did hurt the overall post-launch plan for it, but this kind of sucks seeing that. But I don't think it doesn't make sense for them to now also delay Hexay. That's still 2 years away. But that's seemingly the darkest Assassin's Creed ever. It should be the Syndicate to Origins jump. It should be a new type of way to play Assassin's Creed, to experience it. And that's kind of what we're already seeing. So we have the RPG, we have the mobile game, we have the Fall Guys multiplayer game, and we have a remake. And those are all not competing kind of for the same direct audience. It's not like where Odyssey came out 1 year after Origins, and they're really similar games. This is, they want to do something else. But what do you hope Hexay is?
I mean, we had a few leaks as well about the protagonist being named Elsa, having some witchcraft, controlling cats, etc., being more linear, playing in Germany as well.
Whoa.
Maybe. Whoa.
I mean, that's your backyard. So
it is. Since I'm from Germany, I can show you the places when it's really playing here. We got witch trials in Bavaria, I think, and some stuff. Also, AC Valhalla hinted to Germany in the hideouts, the assassins' hideouts. They said all the assassins fled to Cologne in Germany. So I was asking Davy McDavid about it, and he didn't want to comment on it back then.
Okay, cool.
So there's definitely a lot hinting towards Germany being one relevant Assassin's Creed setting in the future. And the dark one really would fit the old forests, the late Middle Age stuff, and also having a new approach, having that more linear stuff, maybe some supernatural things. Really doesn't match the tone of the old ACs. So it's something new you got to accept. And
we heard
most
about
likely,
mythical abilities.
Exactly,
turning into a rat.
Or cat.
Oh, yeah,
I'm not sure. Also,
right.
controlling the environment, being a witch ourselves, because Hexe actually means witch. So for all of you guys, it's a German word. Yeah. most American people are spelling it or pronouncing it hexe, but it's hexe, and it's a German word. So yeah, I mean that sounds supernatural, and it's not what Assassin's Creed used to be, but I think it's that what Ubisoft does. They try out anything with the with the franchise they can,
and that might be the reason why Shadows is not very mythical, at least right now, because Hexe might be kind of over the top. Here, uses a spell to possess a nearby cat, then the player controls the cat and uses it to distract the soldiers by knocking over a glass bottle, which smashes on the ground and diverts the soldiers' attention. Yeah, so that's one of the. It really sounds Dishonored-like, right? So yeah, they might go in that direction. When I heard that, I was like, oh, that's kind of. I don't want to say cheap, like we haven't seen a lot of it yet, but I was hoping that they would like maybe improve, for example, the black box missions or something. I still think that's such a cool idea that we just haven't really seen pay off in huge ways. Even in Unity and Syndicate, where they were more at the forefront than Mirage and the Siege of Paris DLC, I really wanted maybe, okay, what really does being an assassin mean, and how can we elevate that sort of experience where you really have where it's more like Hitman, basically. I think that could be really cool for the series. And
with the missions and different approaches on those missions.
Yeah, and where the character is at what time of day, and how you can like that. There's like way more going on. So I think that would be really cool. But maybe that is what the Mirage team is doing. We know that they are doing another game after Mirage as well. Mirage was a huge success for them. They are moving into a new studio. I think they already went to that new studio in Bordeaux. So good on them. And yeah, they are hiring big time for new people to work on their next project. I mean, maybe they are looking at, okay, what does it really mean to be like this traditional Assassin's Creed type of game? And yeah, with Hexe, they're trying new things. But I hope it's more than, let's just add over-the-top mythical abilities. Because that's not kind of new. We saw that in Dawn of Ragnarok as well. And that was kind of cool. But I don't know if I want like a whole game around that. It feels like I've played those games before, and that's not where I'm. If I'm playing Assassin's Creed, that's not why I'm playing that kind of game.
I mean, maybe it's like for a certain mission where you are on mushroom, like in all the Ubisoft titles. At some points, you gotta consume mushroom, and you are totally drugged and don't know where to go. I mean, it could be that this could be like for a supernatural part in the game. But I could also imagine being the whole game being supernatural. I can also totally imagine it being like a Plague Tale, you know, that game.
Oh yeah, a good point. Yeah,
and I think that will likely totally match the tone of the game we are looking to. Maybe a lot more forests and huts, I don't know, because the logo is actually hinting towards that. And the pentagram.
That would actually be cool, and we know how the wood and forest will be way more dense in Shadows, so they will of course use that in Hexe as well. Okay,
maybe we'll find something out of Valhalla as well, because we've been at the River Rhine, which is a German river. So yeah,
river raids are back.
Maybe we'll get a Hexe river raid in Valhalla, a Hexe one.
Okay, let's quickly go over the other games. So we already talked about 5 of them, but there are 5 more again in 5 years. Another one is very likely the Assassin's Creed 1 remake, right? That seems like a safe bet as well. And 2027 makes a lot of sense. That's the 20th anniversary, full nostalgia. Go crazy with an AC1 remake. And I'm expecting more from that than from the Black Flag remake. Like, the AC1 needs way more of a reimagination. Like, sure, keep the story as it is, but make the targets more memorable and give us more ways to approach each situation. Really improve the combat. So I think it's gonna be very, very cool, but I'm expecting way less from that. Or way more from that than from... And yeah, it needs way more than Black Flag. So... that is another one. Anything to add on that before we move on?
Same rules apply as we already talked about the Black Flag remake, I would say. Add something new to make it more exciting. And yeah, I think I'm down for it anyways.
Yeah, same. I think it would be very cool to go back to where it all started. And this like 20 years is like a time to remake a game. Because there will be a lot of people who started playing Assassin's Creed games maybe with an Odyssey or an Origins or whatever, and they never played the first one because on PlayStation you can't even play it on PS4 or PS5. So that's crazy. If we go on like that's basically what Tom Henderson is saying. They aim to have a mainline title every 2 years with a smaller title in between. So again, Shadows was supposed to launch at the end of this year. Next year you have a smaller title, Black Flag. Year after that, you have a mainline game again, Hexe. Year after that, we likely have, that's just speculation, but makes a lot of sense to have the AC1 remake there. And then in 2028, we need to have another mainline game. And I really think...
the Nebula one, no?
Yeah, it could either be the Nebula one. So for people who don't know, it's like the Ubisoft Sophia, who did the Curse of the Pharaohs DLC, Rogue, and also Dawn of Ragnarok. They are seemingly making an Assassin's Creed game with 3 settings: India, Mediterranean, and Aztec Empire. Do you really think they are making a mainline game? Seems like a huge jump for them, don't you think? But
it seems like a giant jump, indeed. I mean, right now we don't have... do we have credible sources on it? Or it's just a rumor? I'm
only
not
that,
sure right now.
I mean, it seems to be happening, at least that they are working on that, because it's Tom Henderson who has been right countless of times.
I mean, maybe they are likely making a part of that game. I think that's the part of the truth, right? And
they seem to be leading it, at least. But yeah, maybe more studios will help them. But it seems like I mean, they did Rogue, that's true. But seems like a big jump to
make like a full-fledged 3-setting Assassin's Creed. But yeah, I mean, in terms of transferring the knowledge, a lot of work has been done, and they seem to focus on transferring the knowledge to the next games as well, so they can use the already built features by the other teams.
I personally think they might go for an episodic model with that game and launch like the 3 settings in like throughout the year or something, and kind of try that as like a 5-hour experience per game, and then bundle it together as like a big thing later on. And that might be because that's what they want with the Animus Hub, that there's constantly new content coming. So I think the Mirage team, like that would be 5 years. I mean, they are hiring for a world director here. New world awaits, is what John Luxala is saying, the art director. So
they're doing a New World Amazon game.
Yeah, New World Eternum. They're making that as well.
Exactly.
No, but that is interesting, right? That I think that is probably what the mainline game is. I do think the Mirage team seems more capable of making a mainline game than Sophia. But we will have to wait and see. And then the other titles, we have 2 left, I think, and not the Fall Guys one. No, we have let's see the the Scholar game. So basically 2 other multiplayer games. So one is a co-op game that is really just focused on the co-op, and one is where they use a new cloud technology, where they are like, you can have a lot of people in the world at the same time. And we can...
with a Ubisoft Scala.
And we can, for example, erupt a volcano with the flip of a switch, and then everyone in the world, like all the dots seem to be players. So it's kind of like a huge Battle Royale type experience or something. I don't know. Don't think it will be Battle Royale, but we'll have to wait and see. But I really think that... I think Nebula will see the light of day, but I would not be surprised if these other maybe co-op focused games and... also the Scholar game. Maybe that was like an idea at one point. We will have to wait and see if they want to launch it all. But it's interesting nevertheless. What is the what would you say is your most exciting games of them all, of the 10 that we're discussing here? So let's do a quick rundown for everyone so you can think about it at home as well. Shadows, Assassin's Creed Jade, Black Flag Remake, Fall Guys, no, Assassin's Creed Invictus, the Fall Guys inspired game, Hexay, Assassin's Creed Nebula, so the one with the 3 settings. Then we have the Scholar game, which is called I forgot the name, but that multiplayer game. Assassin's Creed Raid, which is the co-op multiplayer game, and Assassin's Creed 1 Remake. And I think I'm not forgetting.
Yeah, that's it. Perfect. In my opinion, I'm most excited about the Nebula 3 settings thing, and of course about Shadows as well. But I think we already know a lot about Shadows and nothing about those other titles, or almost nothing. So it's like an unfair comparison to maybe compare something you already know stuff about. So yeah,
sure. But you say Shadows.
AC Nebula, I would say.
Oh, Nebula, really?
Because I think like 3 settings in one sounds like insane. And I'm super curious how they touched on it.
It could be really cool, but it could also
be... Or it could be like Valhalla, simply travel to Ireland.
Yeah, but is it the same character? I don't know, right?
Yeah, we will see.
Because it doesn't make sense to have it in the same setting, in the same time period. So it's very interesting, but I get it. I'm gonna say Shadows, I think, because I just like that type of game the most. The open world RPG, lose yourself for 100 hours and we're not afraid to be a 100-hour game. And I'm also just a huge fan of the support that we've seen for Origins, Odyssey and Valhalla. And just covering that and playing through that, the new updates, and seeing what they're adding and the secrets that we might find. Hopefully there's another Nodens arc hidden somewhere. That excites me the most about sort of the open world of the series. And I think those RPG games just do that very well. And with the other games, I like to play them, but I do kind of forget many aspects of them rather quickly, where I'm like, oh, I'm moving on to the next game. And that's what I like about these RPG games, where you're constantly going back and it feels like a warm bath, and you're like, oh yeah, I know how to play this, and I'm excited what they added, and let's see where this goes. And I think that will be very exciting in a Japanese setting that that I've been asking for a long time. So I really hope they deliver on that. The other games just don't feel like only right now Shadows and Hexay feel on the same level in terms of budget and amount of just hours we can spend in them and how big the impact of them will be. Maybe the Mirage game from that team will be on that same level as well, but we will have to wait and see. So that's why I'm gonna say Shadows for now, but maybe Nebula is on that level. We just don't know a lot about it.
Yeah, I think Hexay will be smaller than Shadows and Nebula, but yeah, we will see.
Okay, maybe in terms of playtime, but I think in terms of budget, they are gonna be similar. So maybe we get way more cutscenes and stuff like that.
Might be, yeah. Sure,
that would be cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's not do a prediction. I have one, but I think I'm gonna save it, because we haven't really talked about Shadows in particular, so it feels kind of weird to do random Shadows prediction now all of a sudden. So let's...
I think we can make a prediction on game announcement or so. Huh? So
yeah, but then when is that prediction over? For Shadows, we have
my prediction would be we will get the AC Black Flag remake announcement before the AC Shadows release. So we got to time it with the AC Shadows release, because we said AC Shadows release is our deadline for the competition.
Oh wow, that's an interesting one. Okay, because you think it's part of the Animus Hub reveal or something?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good point. It's a very good point.
So that was just my idea. I mean, if you don't have
No, we can do that. I can like think of something real quick.
just imagine like this this awesome music in the background. Please be patient and wait for a minute. JorRaptor is waiting for you.
I mean, I can say that we will see Hexay before Shadows, but that's kind of crazy. But I like that they will at one point have to convince us why this launcher that we're installing with Shadows is worth it. And one way to do that is them saying like, yeah, it's gonna be the new hub for everything Assassin's Creed, like the Black Flag remake that is launching at the end of the year. I'm gonna say they're gonna do some sort of tie-in where you get a disc. I think that's more post-launch. That they're gonna do some sort of discount for pre-ordering the Black Flag remake if you bought something in Shadows or the other way around. But I don't think they will do that before launch. Ooh, interesting. Maybe someone. Which game introduces the NFTs? No game.
Ghost Recon Breakpoint.
Yeah, and that's over.
And they removed it immediately.
Yeah. Black Flag remake is gonna be like the other remakes, AC3. I mean, AC3 was not a remake, that was remastered. I mean, again, they did some remakey style things, but Black Flag remake should be bigger. Okay, I'm gonna say they will not show any of those games. They will not show any of the new games before Shadows is out. So not Invictus, not the Black Flag remake. Jade is already announced, so that doesn't count. So, yeah, I don't think they will show the Black Flag remake, and I don't think they will show Invictus. I don't think they will show Hexay. I'm not sure how they're going to sell the Animus Hub, but, yeah, then we have like a kind of one person takes all, so let's...
I mean, right now, Jade might be even excluded from the Animus Hub.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
But so I'm saying they're not showing Black Flag remake or Hexay or Invictus before February 14th, and you say they will tease Black Flag remake before February 14th.
Yeah, basically we're saying AOB.
Okay.
Exactly.
Cool. Okay, that's the show we have for you today. So thanks everyone, as always, for the support and for watching. Samaya, you're for the 1 million subscriber special. I'm expecting a 20-minute Dragon Ball Sparking Zero playthrough like you promised. I did not promise that, I think. But
we know you love Dragon Ball.
I love it. It's amazing. I'm happy that everyone likes it. It really exposed a lot of people that they bought that game. No, I'm kidding. It's a running joke on the podcast I do with Luke. It will certainly not be tonight, but it will be tomorrow. So if you're a frequent watcher of that, look forward to it on Thursday. But Frankie Boy, Fragnard, thanks as always for joining. And people will have to check you out, of course, on your channel. If you're German, go to Fragnard. If you are English or if you speak English, of course, check Frankie Boy. You see his name in the title. So click there, give him a sub.
Frankie Boy 13. Exactly.
Yeah.
The best name in the world.
Exactly. So... yeah, that's the show we have. We will be back next week with more Assassin's Creed, hopefully with some new info. But we have some other topic ideas as well. So it will be a fun time, nevertheless. Thanks everyone for watching. Hope you have a good rest of your week. And
speak to you in the next one.